One of the things we also need to talk about is where can we put our work products and Gladys and I were kind of brainstorming here this morning, and at one point we thought maybe trying to use Slack, but I don't know what's going on there, but it doesn't seem to be working very well for us at the Florida virtual campus. So I thought maybe we would try a wiki, um, and maybe setting things up in the wiki. That way we can all edit, and we can also have comments back and forth if we don't want to edit right on the documents we're producing. If that would that work for you if we attempted to do that? See how that works for us. We're a little worried about Google Docs because sometimes when we push things out into the FAB Google Doc, it doesn't reach outside of us very well. So I didn't want to take a chance with the Google Docs.
Yeah, Wiki's fine with me.
Okay, good, thank you.
Sounds good.
Yep, Wiki's fine.
All right, so hopefully you can see the Student Support Subcommittee Implementation Schedule document. The reason why I'm pulling this one up first is because, and I did send these to you earlier this morning, is that this is the research that I've done so far on the goals that we have been tasked to address in this committee. The first one is this quality 2.31 indicator. And that was to ensure that the university used a quality scorecard or a similar process to confirm the online students, including disabilities, have access to services equivalent to those used by campuses. So, base students. What the implementation committee did is we set up a timeline for each of the quality standards. For some reason it keeps going away on my screen. I wonder if I did this. There we go. That's true. Yeah, that's true. So we kind of brainstormed. We thought by December 16th we could be able to recommend best practices for confirming online students have access to these services, and then maybe by May 17th we could actually have an approval process on how to conduct an assessment of each of the institutions. What I did is I went to the OLC quality scorecard requirements, and I pulled up those things that are on the scorecard that were applicable to this particular quality standard. And those are listed here below. So I'm going to kind of let you read through this here real quick and tell me what you think, if this is applicable or if it's not applicable. I know this one deals with policies, but sometimes, or processes, but I'm thinking sometimes that's relevant. And again, it helps us with, as we go forward, if we address this as an institution, it also helps us with our SACS accreditation.
I have a question.
Sure.
The parameters of this say to ensure that universities use a scorecard or similar process. How broadly can we interpret similar process? Because UCS practice has not, for assuring quality, has not been based on evaluation, but more preparation. The volume that we have here it makes it very difficult proposition to try and evaluate everything that's going on. So would
That's
thorough
why-
and robust preparation be appropriate as a similar process?
I think for me, I want to understand what you mean by preparation. What do you mean?
It's our faculty development program and our continual support with instructional designers that are assigned permanently to our teaching faculty across the university. We have mandatory faculty development required for all online teaching, whether it's blended or lecture capture or fully online.
Yeah, so I think that's being dealt with in a different committee. Again, Joyce or Nancy, you want to kind of chime in here?
Yeah,
Well,
this is Nancy. What we were trying to accomplish, what the plan was trying to accomplish with this one, was to actually look at this from the perspective of the students. Do the students have access to services that are equivalent to those on campus, campus-based students? So it really, I don't think that how well a faculty member is prepared would really translate into whether the students have access to those services or not.
Yeah, and I think it's under a different quality standard.
This is Kendall. I have a question based on what Nancy just said here. It's something that we're dealing with here at Indian River. When it comes to this scorecard or some recommendations that we make, is there going to be a certain platform we would like all institutions to have this information available to students? Meaning, would it reside on the website in the Students with Disability Services office? Is there a location or is it a similar place where all students would be able to find this information that's available to them?
We actually, I didn't hear any discussion at that level, Kendall. We were just looking at the big picture in terms of would students have access to the services or not.
Okay.
Right. So I think in the scorecard idea was to get not so much that it's more for the institution to do self-evaluation with. To see if they're providing the proper support services that have been identified for the online students.
Okay.
So the scorecard, that we did expand the language to similar processes because we weren't sure if we wanted to use a scorecard that was already available like the OLC, or if we would want to create our own scorecards. So that's why I pulled the LOC requirement in just to see what it looked like. And so we can have an idea of what it looked like.
This is David from St. Pete. That's one of the questions that came up on another subcommittee as well is which one do you go with? Scorecard, Quality Matters, make up one of your own. But one of the things I think is very attractive to go on with something like the OLC scorecard for this type of area is that it could be viewed as a national standard versus something that is just created just for our institutions, just for the SUS institutions, but something that may be on the lines of more of a nationally accepted type of situation, accreditation.
Right, so we could go ahead and adopt the LLC and maybe add other things if we feel, as we do our investigation, that other things need to be added. We can certainly do that.
Right.
And we took a look also at Quality Matters, because if Quality Matters is coming out with a program review piece, but it doesn't, they don't seem to have a rubric per se right now.
I agree.
Yeah, you just prepare a document that says you have these types of services available. So
No, I
think
agree.
really
Scorecard is
helpful.
definitely more for the program or institutional level, where Quality Matters is more of a peer course level. So there's no doubt that Scorecard would be a better fit here versus Quality Matters.
Right.
Okay, yes, scorecard would work for UCF at the systemic level. I was reacting more to a quality matters type evaluation
Yeah.
earlier.
Right. Well, I think it's helpful to clarify what our role is and what we're doing here. So your question was a really good one, so that we can make sure that we're clarifying what it is we're trying to get to and where we want to be. And not all of us are putting in, some of us are starting to put in online student support services that are separate from the institution. We've attempted to use those, and we've gradually come to the conclusion that they're not adapting as fast as we want to the online environment. We put our own in. So it sounds like Central Florida or South Florida, you're kind of in the same position, and so is Kendall.
Vicki, this is Nancy. I've got a question. If we do use Quality Scorecard, will each one of the institutions have to be a member of OLC in order for us to do that?
They have one that you can just print off if you're not a member. But if you are a member, you can go in and it's interactive.
I believe that both Scorecard and Quality Matters also have state level descriptions. And so if either one is adopted for the course level or for the program level, and it was something that the state of Florida was really getting behind, that possibly looking at that for all SUS institutions might be more beneficial.
Right, and the interactive piece is really good. And from what I understand, you can go in and add documentation to each of these areas. And then I think it's easier for peer review purposes. So yeah, it is a very good platform. Okay, so this one, and we can come back to this one, but again, it's just looking at all of the policies. And the next one is under the same quality standard. Probably need to review that real quick, just ensuring that students have access to equivalent services. So the next one looks more at, next two, is that before they come in, your admissions program, what kind of information do they have? Do they know the books, supplies, the technical and proctoring requirements, and other student support services? And then students are provided non-instructional support services such as admissions, financial assistance, registration, and enrollment. Are these quality scorecard standards that you think would fit under those? That first one?
Yes.
Yeah, you're okay with it?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any questions about this before we move on? Okay. So then the next one is retained fully online. So that's a little different than having the support services. By implementing best practice strategies such as academic coaches, success coaches, analytics, and early alert interventions. So the timeline is for us to prepare a detailed report of best practices to be shared with the FUS institutions. So we are going to work with the student access group with Florida Virtual Campus in order to achieve this. And I sent you a survey that we worked on. We'll look at that here in a few minutes. To see what practices are out there right now. And then those who we feel are doing an exceptional job, if we pull their best practices together and report it, I think it will be helpful. And then I pulled the OLC again, areas that I thought matched it. So some of it I don't know how closely it links, but that's where the discussion, like, do we need to have additional standards?
Vicki, this is Nancy.
Yes.
I know that the Innovation Institute at UWF does a lot of research. Have they already pulled together some best practices or started looking at that issue? I wondered if we could tap into what they've already done so that we're not duplicating anything. But
Yes.
I haven't talked to them, so I'm not sure exactly what they have done.
Yes, so I'm meeting with them Thursday while I'm in Pensacola. So I'm going to be able to talk with them and walk through exactly what they are.
Oh, good.
So I'll be able to pull a report together from what FLVC is doing and what Florida Completes is doing. And then FIU has allowed me to come down to visit them, so I'll be doing that as well. And if anyone else knows someone that we should visit, let me know. I also added under this one effective academic personnel and career counseling and tutorial as a learning service to help with student retention. Is that okay with you guys? Objections? Questions? Oops, I lost her. The next one is student support resources to ensure students have access to technology. And this one actually, I believe I repeated some of the stuff that was earlier because it kind of duplicates.
Well, naturally, I'm looking at these as to how UCF might measure up to some of these parameters, and we're doing pretty well already. We're going to be doing better when we launch our new support unit. So yeah, I think these are pretty good.
I think they are. I think they can give us some really good guidance. And then, the required course materials. Again, tutorials on how to use the technology. That is it off. Oh, yeah. Oh, that, I think I skipped past the technology required online.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, getting that 24/7, 365. I'm wondering if we're really reaching that and really doing a really good job across the whole SUS on that. So I'm pretty sure that most of us are having to pay for that outside of our institutions. Our institutions are not paying for that, are doing it ourselves. And this is a place where I'm wondering if Florida Complete or Florida Virtual Campus could really maybe we do the same thing like the scorecard and have just a help center that's for Florida. Might be good. So are you okay on this piece? Do you think our timelines are okay? This is work we can accomplish?
Vicky, this is Javier.
Yeah.
I looked at the other document as well, like prior to the meeting, and on the early alert interventions and the analytics. Are we going to put anything up on those topics here in this scorecard, or because I don't see anything that addresses whether an institution is actively tracking analytics and doing anything to identify at-risk students and intervention of students that are identified as at-risk during the semester and then things of that nature.
That's where I think we need to add to the quality scorecard, because it really doesn't have that category.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's an important one.
So one of the things I was thinking about, to Javier's point, one of the things that we're doing that we seem to have some low-hanging fruit, so to speak, is when we have our calls, we outsource our student support to Blackboard. We have biweekly calls with Blackboard to let us know what calls are coming in. And we've been able to tailor over the semesters, we've been able to tailor some of our support resources and our trainings that we do after our orientation for students around some of the most frequent calls that come in to the student support. And I don't know if that might be something, even if we just have some language here under the exemplary column that kind of guide an idea like that, that would just be maybe our first stab at using some of the data to help inform or tailor some of our student services that we don't currently have in place. And I don't know if that'd be an area where we could address. It wouldn't be analytics necessarily, but it would be, data that the institutions are getting from their student support areas and shows a response to what seem to be some of the major issues with student tech support and other things.
Yeah, that was my thought too. We might add to the accomplished and exemplary parameters some sort of measurement, metrics, tracking, so that we have something to work on, and particularly in the areas of troubleshooting and tutoring. I think it would be very valuable to know what's used and what the impact is of what we do.
And we have here under exemplary, support staff monitor re-emerging issues to ensure mitigation of any systemic problems. Maybe it would just be tacking on a little statement there at the bottom, because when I read that, I think of the support staff going in and fixing everything on the system side. What do we do on the student side?
Yeah, that lines up very well with the coaching models, the academic coaching models, and success coaching models, so that we're consistently reaching out to the student to see how they're doing and identifying a potential resolution to any issues. Although I do think that the analytics and the early alert are more into analysis of data within your LMS and student information system to identify any key performance indicators that sway towards at-risk students and things of that nature. So, Dr. Brown, in your other document, you do have a few bullet points that you highlighted in yellow that I think are extremely important to be able to start enabling ourselves to track and perform those types of early intervention and identification of at-risk students and key performance indicators and things of that nature.
I agree. I'm going to switch the documents I'm sharing to that one, so you can, those of you who don't have it right in front of you, you'll be able to see it.
This is Mary Myers from FSW.
Oh, hi, Mary.
Can I talk about, how are you?
That's fine.
Can I talk about the early alert too? One thing we've been doing is going back and trying to come up with a metric of all the people that we contacted via early alert, how many successfully completed. So how many did we get back on track? And I think that's an important measure as well.
Yeah, I think we're starting to answer a question about whether we can use LLC or scorecard. I think if we use it, we may have to enhance it just a little bit. And this would be a good place where it would be enhanced. I'm sorry, we're balancing a lot of things over here. Okay. One thing, and I think it takes a little bit of time. I do like the survey, and instead of us working through the survey right here, this is a good thing, maybe something I can post to our wiki website. And if we could look at this over the next week or so, and if you could add your ideas, or if you think we need to do some word tweaking to the survey. The idea behind the survey is that we gather information across both the college and the SUS systems about what they are currently doing, and see if we can also gather some best practices from these institutions. We are trying to put a survey together that will, all the surveys across all of the work groups will go out at one time. So we have a little bit of a time crunch on this, and we need to get it to the data group who's compiling the survey. And it still needs to, whatever questions that we want to add to the survey also have to be approved by the implementation committee. So, and we're just a little not working quite as, we're trying to do some catch-up since this was a late forming work group. So is that something we could all do here in the next week, is take a look at the survey and do some tweaking on it if I send you links?
Yes, I think so.
Sure. Yeah.
That might be a better use of our time right now because we haven't had time to really process everything. I think today we know kind of what the work group is about. We also now know what our goals are and what we're trying to accomplish, what our timeline is. And then if we can pull the survey together, I think that would be helpful. I don't think next week I'll be able to get together again with you because we're going to be traveling to Pensacola next week. And unfortunately, it takes a long time to fly back from Pensacola to South Florida. So I intend on catching up on some sleep on Friday. So maybe if we could meet really early the following week. And then we can maybe finalize this survey.
So you're saying the week of March 21st?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be out on spring break next week.
Oh, okay. So what kind of runs that for you? I know everyone's, we're kind of getting the spring break. So is that okay with everyone in the group?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
If you could just send out another doodle poll, that would be great. That way
We will do the doodle
I know there's spring breaks at several institutions.
Yes. So we'll do a doodle poll, see what we can get, and then meanwhile, if you can work on this a little bit, and then I think if we process what we just learned, and I'll keep gathering information about the different systems or models. So I'm depending on you, Drew. We're going to work with you for my coming down to visit you at FIU.
Okay, great.
Okay, and then hopefully we'll pull those types of reports together. I'm also trying to get into UF because UF keeps telling me that, or I've heard them present many times, that their system is so great that some of their campus students have moved to online so they can get their student support services. So I want to know what they're doing for sure. Any other suggestions or places we should go? Please let me know. I'll be more than happy to arrange, if not me, for someone on the committee to go. And unless you have other, unless anybody has anything else to add, maybe we can pull this meeting to a close.
This is Joyce. Thank you. I think you guys are, got everything going, and look forward to seeing your output.
All right. did you hear Joyce there?
No.
Okay, she said she's looking, seems like we're getting a good start, and she's looking forward to hearing our input.
Great.
All right?
Okay.
All right, thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you all.
All right, you
All right.
have
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.